raids as well. Right now, more than a dozen governors, Republicans and also a Democrat, are saying that they no longer want Syrian refugees to come into their states. All this in response to the attacks in Paris, where one of the men behind that attack posed as a Syrian refugee in Europe. Well, now lawmakers on Capitol Hill may also try to restrict the flow of Syrian refugees into the country at large. The Now's Todd Walker is live in Washington, D.C. And Todd, you know, people who help refugees get a start in this country, they say that these efforts to stop them coming and stem the flow are misguided.
Yeah, that's right. We spoke to the head of an organization that helps people start their lives over here when they are refugees in America. And she says what these governors and now lawmakers are trying to do is un-American and likely illegal.
Of a refugee is that you've been persecuted because of your race, religion, membership in a particular social group. And here, if these refugees come to the United States, they're now faced with governors who want to continue that persecution.
Lavinia Limon is the president and CEO of the U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants. She has spent 40 years helping refugees start a new life in America. She says the scenes of thousands of immigrants flooding into Europe have given Americans the wrong idea about what happens here.
The refugees who arrive in the United States are legal residents. They're entitled to all the freedoms that you and I might be able to enjoy, which includes moving to whatever state we wish to.
Unlike in Europe, refugees in America have waited years and gone through extensive screening. In fact, Limon says no one is screened as much as a refugee.
We have millions of people come into this country every year as tourists, businessmen, students. They don't go through this security check.
Now, this could be an early first test for newly instated Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, who said that he was confident he'd be able to strike a deal between the president and Republicans in the House. Now, those Republicans are pushing a bill which would restrict refugees to only admit Christian refugees. And Ryan has said that the U.S. has always been a generous nation, but this is, quote, a unique situation. The president calls that bill, quote, shameful. We are live in Washington tonight. I'm Todd Walker for the Now South Florida.
Todd, before you go, you know, I guess it's a tough call and depends on who you're talking to, but could these restrictions actually stop terrorists?
Well, what the folks at the refugee organization that we talked to today said that, you know, terrorists are looking for the quickest way in, and this process can sometimes take up to 4 years, plus doing in-person interviews with Homeland Security officials. So the likelihood of a terrorist trying to get into the U.S. posing as a refugee, they say, is next to nothing.
Certainly happened in France, and probably that is part of the fear. Todd Walker for us in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much.